It's direct article interpretation? Okay, that's good. I hope it is, because that's what, yeah. I'm going to go in with an open mind, but I'm going to be critical. I'm going to think critically about the information that's being presented. So, let's take a look and see how the internet is going to get strayed this time.
Ooh, a piece of candy. 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 Ooh, a piece of candy.
That's a game, Wits.
You know how, like, I've been talking about people are kind of bored and infighting is picking up right now because the left really hasn't been up to too much other than, you know, sending billions of dollars back over to Ukraine. Well, here's something you need to get involved with. You need to leave a like on this video, and you need to take this video and you need to share it on social media, because there's a massive, massive new censorship law looking to get crammed through this Wednesday. And it is one of the worst, bills I've ever seen.
I already have a little bit of a flaw. Are they really going to try and push through a law New Year's Day? Are they really going to hold session and try and push through a law on New Year's Day, which I'm reasonably sure people in the United States, correct me if I'm wrong on this, New Year's Day is a federal holiday, if I'm not mistaken. How many senators in Congress, or how many Congress people are actually going to be in session? Yeah, it's a federal holiday, so would Congress even be in session to do this law? Would they? I'm asking you legitimately. I'm not like being sarcastic. I'm just asking. No, hell no. Okay. That's like my gut suspicion is that, yeah, it would be one of their 5 work days a year. Maybe it depends. Okay. Even if they don't actually go through it on that, yeah, like, okay, so like, granted, like, even if they don't do it on Wednesday, it's like they may do it on Thursday instead. So like that's all. It was just a question. It's not like a criticism. Like, oh yeah, sure there. It's like this was just like a question regarding would they actually do this on New Year's Day? That's all. Not a criticism or anything. Just kind of like an inquiry.
It is called the Kids Online Safety Act.
Okay.
You know, the how do I say it? Like, the cuter the name, the worse it is. This is very bad. Think digital IDs for everybody. It's basically the next step to, social credit score, having to give your kids' information to the government so that they can access the free internet.
Really?
Have you left a like on the video yet? Have you shared the video yet? Pause the video, get it out there on social media. We need to have everyone reaching out to their Congress people, their House representatives. This is nuts.
Liking the video is not going to do that. Sharing the video, sure, but okay.
I wrote, fun fact, while we're all arguing about H-1Bs, the House is set to try and cram through the Kids Online Safety Act this Wednesday. This will require effectively digital IDs to work, forcing all people to use the internet, who use the internet, to have an ID on file with the government for, quote, safety.
Yeah, exactly, Mia.
It is also obvious.
Well, yeah, that's why, like, a few minutes in, I'm already kind of like questioning it because, yeah, no, it starts in the House and then goes to the Senate, Leo. First it has to clear the House first, then it has to clear the Senate. And you're right. Your ISP, or more specifically, your IP, your specific IP, is effectively your digital ID. What I'm going to hazard a guess is this is going to be an easier way where I'm guessing there's going to be an argument posed by Jeremy or by the article that he's going to be referencing regarding that to access the internet you have to sign in, and so that no warrant is necessary to get the IP. Or you don't have to go through the ISPs in order to tag your IP, because the ISPs are gonna say, bring me a fucking warrant. This is a means of essentially trying to bypass needing to have probable cause and to get a warrant from a judge in order to get someone's IP. No, it's not, Sam. It's not. Bearing in mind, I'm not saying that your IP is not an ID. I'm saying that if the government wants to quote unquote get a fix on your location get a fix on the location of the computer that's accessing this information, they can do so through the IP. It is not an ID of you as a person. It is not. I'm not making that correlation. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying there. This is something that I'm thinking they're doing not only so they can get a name to a connection, but also a means of bypassing probable cause and a warrant to get your IP address. That's my my first blush thought. As to what they're gonna try. Now let me see. He ran through these really fast.
Have an ID on file with the government for quote safety.
What? He's going through these really fucking fast. I don't like that. Let me read them. Someone says, oh great, I'm all about kid safety, however, forcing digital IDs on everyone too sus. See y'all, I told you there were other things we've been discussing. We enforce laws that protect children without sacrificing certain liberties. There's literally nothing to do with kids once you're in the system or are for life. This is about digital online tracking everything we do. Demand more affirmative action works so well for everyone. What? Demand more affirmative. Okay, does this Lord Grim Wilson know what fucking affirmative action is? Well, I understand he's being sarcastic, Zeb, but he's being sarcastic and cornering in a way that makes no sense. This is not affirmative action. Yeah, this is someone who just hates Jeremy and is just saying shit just to say shit.
Safety.
They'll obfuscate some key issues. Porn is not addressed as addictive. The key issue of identifying which people are under 13 and under 17 are not described. The head of NIST has a year to publish guidance, which will likely become de facto requirements. Have you ever heard of a social security number? What about a driver's license? Viper, thank you for the follow. That is also required because of safety. A CDL Class A hazmat certs. There are tons of safety required licenses and certs out there. Is this guy conflating internet usage with having a social security number and a driver's license? This guy knows that there is a difference, right? Yeah. He's definitely trying to one guy and doing it very poorly. I will point out. He's making an argument that makes no fucking sense. And by the way, bear in mind, this is all from this tweet. None of these people have zero context for this. They have absolutely zero context for this other than this 2-sentence tweet. And they're saying shit like this? Come on, fuck's it. This is why I stay off Twitter. Because you cannot glean any information off of a 2-sentence tweet that says they're gonna require digital IDs to use the internet.
And it also obfuscates the.
Hello. Okay, hang on. You jumped it. To be honest, at this point, it's as simple as collectively saying, no, we already do have ID on file with government. If you have a passport, that's considered federal ID. Again, they're missing the fucking point on this. It's a terrible bill.
obfuscates the
Who's pushing paying these politicians all over Western democracies to pass all the authoritarian laws?
It wants
feels like another distraction, shift attention away from major moves like mass amnesty push, or as you point out, the kids' online safety, a digital ID requirement for safety. I just read the congressional summary. Covered platforms must take reasonable measures in the design and operation of products or services used by minors to prevent and mitigate certain harms that may arise from the usage. Of course, they use broad, unspecific language. Ha! Okay. So based on if this is legitimately coming from the congressional summary, this doesn't sound, this right here, if this is coming from the congressional summary, doesn't sound like digital IDs. This does not sound like you must have a digital ID to use the internet. And again, I'm gonna wager, we shall see. I may be proven wrong, Jeremy may have documentation that proves me wrong. But from the sound of it, this is basically all focused on social media. That's what this feels like. It feels like, Leo, keep it in your pocket. Don't link it yet. He may bring it up on screen. But just keep it in your pocket. First blush, based on this, if this actually came from the summary, they may very well be fixated on social media platforms, not the internet writ large. That's the thing. This may be a bill that is focused on social media. And not like, oh, this is going to fuck all of the internet as a whole. You're going to have a digital ID, social credit score, blah, blah, blah. It may be social media only. But we'll see. We'll see. Again, we're only 2 minutes into this, so let's see.
Wants to age verify everybody, but of course.
Hang on. There was something at the end that he again flashed by. I really don't like that he's flash buying these. The bill does not merely. Okay, so Rand Paul said this. The bill does not merely regulate the internet, it threatens to suppress important and diverse discussions that are essential to a free and healthy society. This is why a legion of advocacy groups on the left and the right oppose COSA. Okay. It's so suppress important and diverse discussion. Again. Yeah, it's possible. This right here, though, I'm interested, and he may be jumping over Rand Paul. This again solidifies my initial thought that this may be aimed at social media. Because suppress important diverse discussions, that feels like social media to me. Not the internet as a whole.
Hi, everybody. But, of course, that's what it wants to do. And we'll read what Rand Paul has to say about it. I will be talking about this live tonight on live stream. I live stream every day at 1 Eastern over on Rumble. But also, I co-broadcast the Quartercast. So for YouTube-only viewer, please do subscribe to Quartercast. Tonight we'll be live at 8 Eastern as well as 1 Eastern. So I hope that you'd tune in. Senators rush to pass Kids Online Safety Act face criticism over censorship and age verification issues. Opponents warn of censorship, age verification risks, and a potential threat to free speech and data privacy. Oh, it's so much worse than that. A push is underway right now in the House of Representatives to pass the Kids Online Safety Act before the mandate of current Congress expires in early January. That means this Wednesday. To this end, Senator Marsha Blackburn, a Republican who, along with Democrat Senator Richard Blumenthal, led the charge to get the bill adopted by Senate in July, has penned another opinion piece almost entirely crafted as yet another think of the kids talking point. Buried in the article.
Let's see. Okay, so it's a bipartisan thing. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. If a bill gets passed and someone thinks it's a violation of civil rights, it will get challenged in the Supreme Court. The moment if this actually gets passed, That's not just a sudden, okay, game over, huh? It can get challenged, and probably will get challenged in the Supreme Court. Or at least one of, or at least like one of, well, I'll probably start at a state court and then work its way up from there. But it will get challenged from the court system. Plus, leave us not forget. Well, Alex,
The only question I have is why make digital ID when the gov can just use something like the Patriot Act to track you illegally anyway? Online anonymity is kinda dead because of it, so why bother? Cheer 100.
Revan, because I suspect this may not be to like track people. I think this may be more of a sticking it to the social media platforms. That, again, that's my feeling, is this is targeting the actual social media platforms and trying to, we'll see, maybe trying to force them to do some kind of digital ID system. And if it is targeting the social media platforms, you can bet your ass if it passes, every major social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all of that, they've got deep pockets. Guarantee you that if this passes, the next day, these social media platforms will be on the phone with their lawyers saying, drop the paperwork, we're filing a suit. If this targets social media platforms like I suspect it's going to. Those said social media platforms have a lot of money specifically for lawyers, and they will pull the trigger on it. I guarantee you.
Meant to demonstrate the urgent need of adopting COSA by linking young ones' online presence with everything from anxiety to depression to cognitive decline to trafficking and drugs, is a mention of one key criticism of the bill, namely that it will bring more censorship. Blackburn acknowledged.
Notice, or another key point of note here. We see this so very often. They're putting all the blame on online content, namely social media, and they're not saying anything about the parents. Take note, they have not once talked anything about the parents. Maybe raising their children right, instilling good morals and life lessons of value. You never hear about that anymore. It is always about the online. It's always the fault of the social media platforms. The parents are always completely blameless in this. It couldn't possibly be that the parents just plunk their kids in front of social media and walk away so they can do whatever the fuck they want to do and don't actually engage with their children anymore. No, that's never even considered. Exactly. A lot of parents these days don't parent. They let social media parent their kids, and we are seeing the results. That is not strictly the fault of social media. It is not. The fault also lies at least 50% with the parents. Yeah, like every time something bad happens involving young adults, their go-to is the internet is evil. It caused this young person to do this. Every time. They never go, huh? What was their home life like? What were their parents like? Did their parents actually do anything? Were their parents good parents? Were they abusive parents? That's never looked at. There was one incident where it was a educational bang bang where the parents actually got arrested because they allowed their youngling access to the firearm. That was the one time in recent memory I can think of where the parent actually did get blamed. Otherwise, it's blame the internet, blame video games, blame everything except the parents, when in some cases, yes, the parents are a factor that needs to be addressed.
Acknowledges that this is a concern and has kept COSA stalled for months in the House, but then quickly dismisses the reasons as, quote, blatant falsehoods spread by big tech lobbyists. Equally quickly, the senator reveals that the bill that the Senate passed has been, quote, updated in order to dispel those same censorship concerns. The gist of those changes appear to be make the bill less overbroad and vague, which is how censorship of
nickname? I wish to God that I was smart enough that I could give you an answer to that. I really do. It's not a simple answer. You know, we could start with parents actually talking to their kids. We could start with parents actually interacting and engaging with their kids instead of putting a tablet in front of their face all day long. That would be at least a start. As far as a grand, overarching plan, Chaos, granted, I'm not well versed on it, but I'm not entirely sure that there's incentivizing single parenthood. But I don't know. It's a breeder's license. Yeah, Machias, that is actually close to China with that. That's like the one child policy. Sound familiar? Which part deepens the problems, Nick Day? Which part are you referring to deepening the problems? Yeah. When did that? Maybe. Oh yeah. Wait. It says bill solely to protect big tech from smaller competitors. Standard practice for corporate. Is it, Bobcat? Okay, maybe he'll get into that. Let's see. Because I still haven't seen much of what this bill is going to do. Hopefully he'll get into that.
Protected speech could creep into its implementation if it becomes laws. Hardly a big tech lobbyist, the digital rights group EFF in September warned that mitigating online harms is something that needs to be done, but without violating the First Amendment. The version of COSA that was in the House at the time, the group said represented an unconstitutional censorship bill that gives the FTC and potentially the state attorneys general the power to restrict protected online speech they find objectionable.
Okay, now we're starting to get into some nitty gritty. So, the bill is potentially giving power to government agencies to restrict speech. Yeah, that absolutely screams First Amendment violation. That is absolutely if the bill does have that, that is 100% a First Amendment violation, and will get fought by every fucking freedom of speech group out there. And there's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah. No, it's not. What do you know? It's not, Zed. How does giving the FTC and the state's attorney carte blanche power to restrict speech? I'm reasonably sure, and I could be wrong. I'm reasonably sure that that it has been argued in court that the First Amendment also because there's been talk have there not been cases where people have had their they won First Amendment-based cases when they had, like, their online account shut down.
Ember, I read that the Speaker of the House did not move to bring the bill to the House floor. That was only 13 hours ago.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, they're not... That's fine. Yeah, I'm reasonably sure there have been cases before, and there were First Amendment-based cases of people who have had their like social media accounts like terminated because of, you know, of essentially what was considered wrongthink, nothing that was actually like dangerous or harmful, but it was just wrongthink essentially, and they won those cases under an argument of First Amendment protection. I'm reasonably sure there have been cases won in that vein, not simply about protection from being arrested, that the First Amendment has been expounded upon in the judicial system to also protect your freedom to basically say whatever you want and not be censored, unless said speech is like directly harmful, like you are, advocating for the unaliving of someone or certain groups, etc., etc. Yeah. It's... Oh, no. Okay. No worries then. No problem. It's okay. It's a little bit all over the place. Don't even worry about it.
The second major objection to COSA is something that Blackburn didn't touch on in her opinion piece. I wonder why. Age verification.
Okay, Zep.
In order for platforms to comply and restrict young people from accessing certain content, they'd of course be able to ascertain a user's age, right? Digital ID, folks. The only reliable way to do this would be to ID everyone on the internet by forcing them to upload personal data, proof of government-issued security documents, and it would create a whole new world of online harms concerning...
Yeah. And this right here, if this is what they're looking for, this is why it's going to die. Because you are going to have so many data safety advocacy groups lobbying their congresspeople to say, fuck that shit. On a federal level, you're going to have a lot of advocacy groups saying, look, the goddamn U.S. Treasury just got hacked by China this week or last week. Do you really think that we trust the government with our we already have way too much personal data on government servers, such as the IRS and the FBI and all various other agencies. People already think there's too much of our data in government hands. Now they want more ID. And this is going to be a hell fuck no. Especially considering cybersecurity is a fucking joke these days. Yeah, one fucking hack, because this would literally get just about 99.9% of the population of the United States' identification all in one place. All in one place, this would be. You don't think that that is going to be the #1 fucking target of every enemy hacker, from hostile countries? If this goes through, the moment this goes online, every hostile nation's hacking teams, that is going to be their #1 target. They will pound the fuck out of this database, and they will get through it. And then they will get access to because this is literally everybody. You cannot exist in the modern day without having some kind of online access.
West Taiwan's gonna have a field day with it.
West Taiwan, China, Russia, and North Korea, all of the United States' major enemies, and minor ones, will instantly target this with their hackers. And the United States will not stop that many. Oh, Eki, it's like military personnel, law enforcement personnel, the average citizen. Think of think of the identity theft that would be happening. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm rolling. My brain didn't pick that up. I'm sorry. I was on a roll and I didn't pick up the West Taiwan thing. Yeah, this would be an identity theft fucking nightmare if they did this. And no, the government cannot bolster it enough to protect it. They cannot. You cannot trust the US government to protect this data in any way, shape, or form. You cannot. It's done. And literally every person in the nation would have to give up their ID.
Both data safety, but also government overreach beyond censorship and potentially into new forms of mass surveillance.
All right, that part I'm going to disagree with a little bit. As you guys have said, the government already has a fuck ton of your information. And yes, that's honest, you're right. The social security numbers were already stolen once. At least once that we know of. This is what the government has actually admitted to. Yeah. Okay, Seth. So some of the companies that block certain services because there's a privacy issue. Okay. Fuck, what was I just about to say? I had something and I just lost it. Oh yeah. The thing is, this is unnecessary advertisement. The US government already has every adult's ID. Every of-age adult, the government already has their ID. It's called taxes. They've already got the information. There's absolutely no need to create a bill to create a whole new government ID just to access, presumably, social media. There's absolutely no need for it. If you are of a legal age adult, which would presumably be the age you could access these, social media, the government already has your ID with taxes. This is basically trying to create a whole new ID for what purposes we don't know. Obviously, the thought process is nefarious purposes. Arguments against it from the observer perspective are the government being able to track what sites using when. Yeah. Although the government would not have the capability, well, they might have the capability, they don't have the manpower to do real-time checking of everyone, but they could use AI. They need to do digital ID for voting and census monitoring. True, Gore. True.
This is a bill. Okay, this was updated December 18th. Congress moves forward on Kids Online Safety Act. This bill has 70 co-sponsors. 70. Lots of Republicans, lots of Democrats. This is bipartisan agreement on forcing you to have your kids upload their identification.
Okay, I'm trying to see. Okay, it's the Senate and 70 co-sponsors in the Senate.
The internet so they can access it. And then the government would have to, the government would then be involved in everything your kid wants to browse and obviously would track all of that, I suspect. Proponents of the bill believe it's necessary to safeguard children from harm that could result from platforms' relentless quest for user attention. Well, what about parents? Parents could just keep their kids off the internet. If you're that worried about your kid, then keep them off the internet. It's pretty easy to do.
Wait, hang on. Let me read the rest of this. Critics argue that COSA not only erodes internet freedoms, but could also prevent minors, particularly from LGBT minors, from accessing potentially life-saving information. I mean, in terms of finding someone to talk with and communications, I'll agree with that. It's what are they classifying as life-saving information? The lead co-sponsor, Marsha Blackburn, has publicly justified COSA on the basis that we should be protecting minor children from the transgender in this culture. What? What is this fucking statement. This? I can't decide if this makes no goddamn sense, or if this is decidedly transphobic. Like, according to Marsha Blackburn, the purpose of the bill is to keep children from discovering, from seeing anything regarding transgender. That's what this feels like. Could it be cherry-picked? Yes, Core, it could be. It's still a quote that she said. It is still a quote. And yeah, it sounds... Granted, it's coming from Marsha Blackburn. I am not surprised that she said this. What does surprise me is that they've got multiple Democrats that are on board with this. That part surprises me. But yeah, this is just outright fucking transphobic. And yeah, like, this is not what you need to be protecting kids from. Fuck. This is getting insane. I mean, granted, the context here is you have this critic singling out LGBT individuals, so of course the response would be in reference to that. And it's like, I'm so sick of this. We need to protect young people from the quote-unquote transgender threat. And not once have I heard, maybe we should just give kids information so they can be more understanding of what these people go through. Of what these people have to contend with in their lives. You know, knowledge and understanding in this case, in this kind of situation, is a lot more potent than just a blanket shield like blah blah blah, stick the fingers in yours, I don't see nothing, I don't hear nothing. Oh, Revan, that is verboten these days. You can't let children enjoy their childhood anymore. That's verboten. Now you have to basically, like, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to God's eye your children with protection these days. It's fucking hell.
Critics argue that COSA not only erodes internet freedoms, but could also prevent young ones from, particularly LGBTQ minors, from accessing potentially life-saving information. Okay, well now...
Okay, I know Jeremy is pretty anti-trans and anti-LGBT. Did he really have to do it like that? Like, seriously, like... For fuck's sake. Nah. Alright. I'm gonna let it go. I know it's just how he is. Well, Alex, I need... He's... More than once he's, more than once he is, to my memory, I have not watched a lot of Jeremy. It's... I understand he's like anti-message and kid indoctrination. The fact is, young people under the age of 18 are LGBT. Without being like messaged to or indoctrinated, this is just like how they develop. So, I mean, okay. I'm gonna leave that go. I'm just gonna let it go because I could go on a fucking rant about that, and I'm not going to.
Now maybe I'm for it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I assume they're...
X. Really? Step on me, mommy. Thank you for the follow.
Saving information. Okay, well now maybe I'm for it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I assume they're talking about, getting all that sweet information about, healthy young kids having double mastectomies.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put this out there. fucking helplines, life-saving information, like helplines or groups that can help people that are maybe considering doing something drastic because they are in a frame of mind where they might do that, and there is like a number or a group they can reach out to for help. Maybe try and look at it from that fucking angle instead of constantly going with the every online group that involves LGBT is an indoctrination group. Do they exist? Yes, it's not all of them. Stop fucking blanket statementing this bullshit. This shit pisses me off. You cannot blanket statement this kind of thing. There are bad actors out of there. There are bad actors out there. There are emotional people out there that genuinely just wish to offer support and to be a shoulder to lean on when someone that is young is going through an incredibly hard time and they don't have anyone to turn to, including their parents.
D-led co-sponsor Senator Marshall Blackburn has publicly justified COSA on the basis that we should be protecting kids from trans culture, from the trans in this culture. What? The current text of COSA creates a duty of care.
He just breezed right past that instead of me, where I was like, that makes no fucking sense.
For platforms, requiring them to take reasonable steps to mitigate a specific list of harms to young ones. Those include cyberbullying, exploitation, and eating disorders. On top of that, it would mandate certain kinds of parental tools. This obviously, hey, you want to tell platforms they got to do this, that, or the other thing. I don't agree with that. This is a free market. I'm not a fan of this at all. On top of that, it would require certain types of parental tools, require the highest level of privacy settings to be on for kids by default.
Yeah, because kids these days wouldn't be able to nuke those privacy settings in 2.5 seconds. Now we're just into stupidity. Every parent that puts privacy settings on their kids' devices, those privacy settings are undone literally the moment that parent leaves the room. Kids are a lot smarter when it comes to technology than the parents are, 9 times out of 10. You are not going to be able to keep privacy settings on high for a kid. It ain't happening. Hate to tell you. It's not happening. Yeah, Gore, eating disorders is a thing for young people, particularly girls. It's like 99% with girls. Where it is the whole concept of you see the skinny models and the girls are thinking I have to be that skinny, and so they get an eating disorder. Yeah, it is absolutely a thing. Really sad. Interesting.
And let young users have a say in whether or not they get their personalized recommendations through algorithmic feeds. Regardless of what happens in the Senate, the House of Representatives is adjourning for the August recess ahead of schedule. It's set to return mid-September. This was other stuff. Here's December 18. Their Kids Online Safety Act's last stand. I implore people to do whatever it takes to not have, contact your, whoever you have in Congress or whatever you have in the House of Representatives. Here you have Rand Paul writing, in current day and age, there's a lot of talk about kids having access to social media. We've all seen this pose inherent dangers to mental health and safety of young people. At such an early age, they simply aren't equipped to deal with predators, especially, spicy content, other things online. Over the years, we've seen data that shows even just the use of cell phones in schools directly correlates with psychological harm to kids. Many of these findings, legislation of the Kids Online Safety Act has emerged with the promise of keeping our youth protected from harm.
Andrew, that's exactly it. The moment if they try to go live with this, you know that people are going to be out there figuring out workarounds and posting it. in places where these IDs are not needed. So yeah, this information is going to get out there real fast of how to bypass this if this happens. That is just how this works. How technology works is the moment you institute some new security measure, the instant it goes live, people are already working out how to bypass it, if they haven't figured it out already because plans have been leaked. And people were working on it before it even went live. We see this right now with uBlock Origin dealing with YouTube. They are in a constant battle of YouTube's gonna do this to try and block the ads. uBlock Origin comes up with a workaround. They try and bypass that workaround. uBlock comes up with another one. Yeah. This is pointless because it's not going to work. And yeah, I mean, when you're instituting censorship, you like of this nature, when you're doing, when you're instituting a level of attempted censorship of this scale, you are basically becoming the US is becoming its enemy. The very thing that they supposedly fought against.
There won't. Oh wait. Oh, now I have to pay for this. Oh, Rand. This bill does not merely regulate the internet. It threatens to suppress.
The best way to guard against these online harms, have the parents talk to their kids. I know that,
yes.
And I'm a terrible dad.
Leo, I bet you're not a terrible dad. Stop it. No calling yourself terrible. You don't do that in my chat. You probably do the best that you can. I trust that you're doing the best that you can. Nobody's perfect. Every mom, every dad is going to screw up. That is life. It doesn't mean that you're a terrible parent. It means you're human. Oh. Okay, yes, Omni-Man is a terrible fucking dad. Okay, yeah, that, I'm on board. I'm on board with that one, yes. Omni-Man's a whole different story.
Important and diverse discussions that are essential to a free and healthy society. This is Rand Paul. This is why a legion of advocacy groups on the left and the right oppose COSA. This is wild.
Yeah, if you've got the left and the right both working together on this, you know you're not fucked up.
The first either. Like, here you have New York Governor Kathy Hochul, signs another controversial online safety bill. This was Friday.
What?
A controversial legislative package signed by New York Governor Kathy Hochul is likely to once again ignite concerns over free speech, just like the last time she tried to enact such legislation. It promotes censorship under the guise of online safety.
Oh, God.
Among the measures are a bill mandating social media companies disclose their terms of service regarding so-called, quote, hate speech and submit detailed reports to the state attorney general. I mean, what?
Okay. Also, they disclose their terms of service regarding so-called hate speech. What in the fuck is even hate speech now? Because that's the crux of it. That's probably what they could try and use this bill for, is hate speech? Exactly. These days, the definition of hate speech changes literally from person to person. And it, fundamentally does not have meaning anymore. The only legitimate hate speech is that I can think of that still is existence, that is actual hate speech, is blanket racism. I might be gonna say blanket sexism is hate speech on its face. And to some degrees it can be. But hate speech now is if someone says, you need to celebrate Pride, and someone says, nah, I don't feel like celebrating Pride, that is literally being taken as hate speech these days. They're saying, no, I don't feel like celebrating Pride, and people are like, the town of Emo literally had a human rights tribunal say that's hate speech. They didn't classify it as hate speech, but they actually fined them and was trying to force the mayor and another town official to go through sensitivity training because they did not want to fly the pride flag. That's one example in Canada. And that same shit happens in the US too. Yeah, people love to say that Canada is going apeshit. The US is going apeshit with this too. Let's not fuck with it. The US is going completely apeshit with this too. And so we have lost the, remember how I said, and you know how I said that words have lost all their meaning? So has the term hate speech. Hate speech in and of itself has lost cognitive meaning now. You cannot define hate speech. There is not a universally agreed upon definition of hate speech anymore. It is literally different from person to person. And so this could be absolutely be used as a weapon against people for literally doing nothing more except not agreeing with someone. That's it. Because hate speech is no longer hate speech. It's simply, you don't agree with me. Yeah, abusive or threatening speech or rating expression prejudice on the basis of ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or similar grounds. Yeah, but people don't view it that way. That if we went by the dictionary, if we still went by the dictionary definition of it, that'd be one thing. That dictionary definition is ignored. Or is considered, or, guarantee you, how many people have called the dictionary definition of hate speech racist? I will bet anything that people have called the dictionary definition of racist the dictionary definition of hate speech, people have called it racist. I guarantee you, because everything that doesn't go 100% their way or is in 100% agreement with them is this or phobic or just or whateverist.
Detailed reports to the state attorney general. I mean, what? In the press release, Hochul's office borrowed a term from the pro-censorship UK government and touted the legislation as a step towards, quote, online safety, but...
Yeah. The UK's version of censorship. We can see how fucking great that's working out, can't we? Chatters in the UK. How's that UK government censorship thing working out for you? Are they still arresting people for literally nothing? Good. You know, Alex, arrest me. Yeah. Well, okay, DJ, I don't know if you're okay. I'm gonna go on the assumption you're being sarcastic there, with the thing. Oh yeah, they threatened you. Oh yeah, I know. The police, the head constable or something, threatened to try and get U.S. citizens like deported or pulled over to the UK or. Okay, so Zeb, basically the UK has tried to censor online. They've already kind of gone forward with the online censorship where they are literally arresting people for not agreeing with something. And basically they are twisting themselves into a Peruvian knot, trying to justify why someone's perfectly legitimate, perhaps disagreement statement constitutes as hate speech or racism, and they're actually arresting people. And the head constable has actually said he wants to have people from the US deported over to the UK to be arrested for hate crimes on the internet. He's literally said that. So, yeah, it's the UK's already tried it and everybody's opposing it. The entire I'm pretty sure that there have been riots and mass demonstrations against the online censorship that's been happening in the UK. I don't know if it's still been ongoing. I know it happened like a couple months ago. I don't know if it's still ongoing though.
Many people see it as a tool for stifling expression. The term hate speech, often deployed in ambiguous and subjective ways, have frequently been used to suppress dissenting opinions. This bill empowers both government entities and social media giants who arbitrarily regulate free speech.
Mm-hmm.
New York
I know,
Senator, he pointed
Nick.
out, opponents to this legislation view these arguments as pretext for imposing sweeping censorship measures. They argue that handing more control over.
Rygat, if you're talking about in the UK, there was a guy who said something on Facebook. It was in relation to, I forget what ethnic, like a couple, like he saw like a couple ethnic, I forget what ethnicity they were. Saw a couple people, or there was a picture of this group of people somewhere, and he made just a rather benign comment about it, and the constable showed up at his door and arrested him for hate speech because he made a benign comment regarding a group of people of, I can't remember if they were not or if they were Muslim or if they were like Filipino. I don't remember what the ethnicity was. But he made a benign comment, like, "Oh, there's a couple more," and that's it. Like that was it, and they arrested him. An autistic girl got arrested? That I hadn't heard about either. That one I did not hear about an autistic girl being arrested. Yeah, I mean, God help them if they go into a COD lobby. Well, okay, if they went to a COD lobby, their delicate sensibilities would cause their brains to explode and then problem solved anyway.
Speech of the government officials and powerful
Thank you,
corporations
Shady Eye.
undermine fundamental freedom of speech protections. Yeah. It's always think of the kids. It's always think of the kids, isn't it?
That's just code.
Please, won't somebody think of the kids?
Yeah, think of the kids is now code
how about
for
their parents
government
think of the kids?
Government. Think of the kids is now code for let the government basically have access to every facet of your life so they can control your thoughts. So they can basically they can social engineer you through laws and through punishment. That's what think of the kids is. They do not, what's that fuck with it? The government, at its, fundamentally speaking, with bills like this, doesn't give a fuck about the kids. No matter how much they try and protest it, no matter how much they try and say, oh, it's all for the kids, they do not fucking care about the kids. Because if they did, they would have been doing something very different to protect the kids. Like outreach programs, or trying to get parents, like focusing on parents, like, hey, parents, talk to your kids, engage with your kids, love your kids. Not, let's lock down the fucking internet. Was in her array, but she said a Bobby looked like her lesbian nana. And they arrested her for that, Iron? Did they arrest her for that? What? How old was this girl? How old was she? Not that it matters, but I am curious. They arrested a 13-year-old autistic girl because she looked at one of the constables and said that she looked like her lesbian nana. And there wasn't a riot. Like, yeah. If you did not need any further evidence, I may have to look that up. Hang on.
You know, this is a wild...
Let me finish this.
They're trying to push this through Wednesday.
Thank you for the follow, Kilroy.
And they're probably going to do it. You know, why is this the most regressive and awful legislation? Is titled in such a way, in such good language. This is like the Inflation Reduction Act. They never intended to do what it said. This is another grotesque scam. 100% agree. Here's the text, by the way, you can read online. You know, it's out there, S.1409. It's insane. And once they start requiring websites to do this, websites will just start blocking sites or country. I mean, all of this is while we're arguing about H-1Bs. We need to refocus into this. This bill cannot pass. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and and don't forget to subscribe to Quartercast. We'll talk to you again real soon.
And okay, hey, hang on. Let me try and pull this up.
Idea: ask people those simple questions they ask on the street interviews, and if they can't answer something, how many states are in the US, then banned from having kids, problem solved. Cheer 100.